Yeah, thank you very much for that, Jill. We're continuing as a Region Emergency Operations Committee to run an EM response to the COVID event across several police districts and the MLHD, and that's working quite well. One might ask what we're actually doing in that EOC arrangement with very few and no recent infections. It's been very effective at providing support for councils and for other government agencies, and also providing advice, particularly around restrictions as they ease. Particularly of note, and Jill touched on it, and obviously there's been a lot of media of late, the opening back up of pubs and clubs and the increasing the amount of numbers able to go into those premises, restaurants and so forth. Obviously, because of the ministerial directions, we have ostensibly a new regime of administering licensing and health and safe work around pubs and restaurants and so forth. There's a lot of questions, and so and there is perhaps some ambiguity in some of the directions, and some of those have been liberally interpreted. But I would say to people that are running pubs, clubs, licensed premises and restaurants, I would say this is that observe the law. Obviously the ministerial directions are law. You must at all times do whatever you can to comply with the law. Beyond that, there are some things that are being liberally, as I say, interpreted. I would encourage you to take advice from the regulatory bodies. Sometimes that's the police, sometimes that might be liquor and gaming, sometimes that might be Safe Work New South Wales and or health. So take advice without interpreting things in your favour that might get you into strife. The other thing I would say is to people who are attending licensed premises, that are attending restaurants and cafes, be patient with the vendors. They are adapting to a new way of doing business, and the goalposts are being moved. So they will ask you to do certain things when you enter those premises, and that will include to leave your name and a phone number and or an email address for contact tracing. Please be patient. Please try and comply, because this is very important in maintaining the continual easing of restrictions. If we want things to get closer and closer back towards normal more quickly, we've got to do our bit to help those vendors and licensed premises. So that's been fairly difficult, but most people try and do the right thing. There are a few that are not, and it makes things fairly difficult for these businesses that are already doing it very hard. As we do see these restrictions ease, obviously, the police are probably going to be more thinking on their feet in terms of being able to interpret what the new restrictions mean. We do have a focus on safety and compliance, not so much enforcement. There's been really no processes issued or charges laid against anyone in recent weeks for breaching any of the COVID directions, so that's really good. We hope it continues that way, but we just encourage people to be patient, do the right thing, and they, as Jill has said, they need to observe that social distancing, the hygiene, and gathering in large places. We still have a restriction of 20 persons, no more than 20 persons gathered in a public place. Don't push the boundaries with that, because that's going to cause trouble. I don't have anything else on COVID, so did you have questions for Jill?